Do I have to roster Russell Wilson? I'm at a spot, Mike, where it's tough for me because I still feel like this offense, his skill position players are still too good to just give up on what is the talent of Russell Wilson. But I don't know what I'm doing with him week in and week out if he's my starter.
I think if you're going through all the quarterbacks and kind of ranking them, and it's funny, I'm like working on a dynasty ranking update and looking at the quarterbacks, and you get like, you're like, all right, Allen, Mahomes, Herbert, Lamar Jackson, like Jalen Hurts is in there, and then you're just like, this guy could be 6th or he could be 25th.
Yes.
Like, where's Geno Smith? Where's like all these guys? It's wild. And he's fallen to that conversation because he is not a good fantasy quarterback right now. He's not a guy you feel like starting. And I could not, it almost like, if you watch that game last night, you're thinking, this has to be fixable. It's Russell. I mean, these guys are wide open. Wide open.
The very end. KJ Hamler, it said it all, right? Like, there he was, and he was not even looked at.
How about earlier in the game, he had a dump off. He threw to Mike Boone on 3rd and long. Cortland Sutton was right in front of him, wide open for a first down on like 3rd and 15. I was like, I don't get it. I can't figure out what's going on there.
I thought the broadcasting crew did a really good job of highlighting what it feels like Russell Wilson isn't seeing, which makes me even more nervous as a fantasy manager when it's like, oh, it's not that he's just playing bad, but they're showing like he's not seeing the field the way that Russell Wilson used to see the field, it seems like.
I was watching the dots because I couldn't, I was like, I can't, there has to be something I'm not seeing, right? Like, how am I... What is he not seeing? I'm missing something. There must be a defender standing there. And you watch the dots and you're like, he's looking right at Sutton going right by the corner. And I'm just over and over. And I don't get it. I don't get it.
I was watching the version with our friends Hannah Storm and Andrea Kramer, and they had Emmanuel Sanders on at the end of the game. And he's talking about it from the perspective of a former Broncos player and talking about the game script and things that he's expecting to be set up. And he's like, oh, well, they didn't do that there. And it was... Just no matter who you listened to or what you watched, we saw things where there were scenarios where they could have executed something that would have been productive in terms of points, and it didn't happen. And I think that's the part that makes us concerned for fantasy. At this point, we don't have any more time. I know no one cares about my fantasy team, but I just have to vent about it because in the War Room League, 16-team league, we talk about it all the time. Russell Wilson's my quarterback. Matt Ryan's my backup. I don't have another choice. There's no other quarterbacks in the league. I literally picked up Bailey Zappi yesterday because I'm like, what am I doing? No, but I have to trade. But who else do I have? Jonathan Taylor. He was out last night. So you know who filled in for him off my bench? Melvin Gordon. He became a starter. I am doomed. Can I just complain about that?
You're not doomed. It could be worse, maybe. I mean,
Maybe.
I had like 20 fantasy points, and make it worse, I'm playing Scott Clark.
Long season, keep trucking along. But anyway, to answer your question, and to Stefani's point, hard drop, I think, just because that quarterback situation is wide open and he can jump back into that top 10 or 12 if they figure things out. It is a new offense. You know, he's new to the team. It could improve, but it's not like he's a roster lock.
He and Nathaniel Hackett were talking about the locker for quite some time after the game.
Yeah. I will say this. There have been a lot of these fantasy, and I've said it a lot, fantasy is an emotional game. Our director, Brian, and I know he's not the only one, is trying to decide, am I starting Marcus Mariota next week or Russell Wilson? And these are the kind of questions that we're going to continue to get until we see more from this Broncos office and Russell Wilson under center.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN Plus right now.